And this morning, we've been joined by Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, who's a statesman who served in the health sector as a medical doctor in the Ghana Armed Forces and also in a diplomatic space as Ghana's ambassador to Serbia. But for many of you, you know him as, chairman of Accra Hearts of Folk and chairman of the Ghana Football Association also. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning.
We believe you're doing very well this morning. So here we are as a country with illegal mining. After years of a fight, where did we go wrong, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo? Why are we still faced with this menace after promising to deal with it over and over again?
Well, I would say that the failure should be put squarely on leadership failure. That's what I would say. Leadership failure. Because if we have an effective leader, a leader who can control his people, a leader who can call a spade and really mean exactly what he's saying, we wouldn't have been in this sort of state at all. Because it's been shown clearly that people in government are involved. It's been shown clearly that ministers are involved. The regional chairman of my party, as the New Patriotic Party, are involved. And the president cannot just say anything. It's as simple as that. That's the way I look at it.
Now, let me introduce Dr. George Manfo, who's chairman of the Environment and Sustainability Thematic Group of Frimpong Manso. I'll get back to you shortly, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. Dr. Manfo, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you.
So let's look at the problem. Erastus Asare Donko said he spoke to somebody who was actually mining, and the person's, when he confronted him, his response was, "Na insione da hono, yede beye deng," to mean, what would we use the river for? Tell us the situation that we're faced with. How dire is it? And why should we be concerned with the destruction of our environment?
Thank you very much, Raymond, and good morning to your cherished listeners. You see, Ghana is blessed with a lot of gold and a lot of other precious minerals. And we've been mining gold for quite a very long time now, several centuries. However, the way we are mining gold today is a cause for serious concern. There is little or no regard for environmental protection, for human life, for flora and fauna. People have been, or we Ghanaians have been mining gold for centuries, but the way we are doing it now is a cause for serious concern. Illegal mining, illegal gold mining or Galamsey has been going on, and some of the reasons basically are this. Let me just say a few things about that. You see, now the price of gold is around $2,500 per ounce.
Yeah.
Now, we know that for many people, small-scale Galamsey operations are more lucrative than other poverty reduction measures or interventions that is going on in the country. Now we have the greed and get-rich mentality is taking over Ghanaians. We have the connivance of very powerful people, landowners, opinion leaders, some chiefs, foreigners, some senior public officers, political operators. There are many people who are involved in this kind of exercise. And therefore, our water bodies are being destroyed. We are putting mercury into our water bodies. And if you put mercury in water, it can stay for at least 1,000 years. Because in chemistry, the half-life of mercury in the environment is 444 years. When you reduce that amount you put in by half, and it stays in there.
Now,
For
Dr.
every
Manfo,
ounce,
just hold on
for
1
every
minute.
gram of gold we mine in this country, we use up to 1 to 2 grams of mercury to extract 1 gram of gold. I'm not saying that all the small-scale miners are using mercury, but for each gram of gold, and in Ghana, small-scale mining produces over 1.2 million ounces of gold.
Yeah.
This is about 34 metric tons of gold. So we can imagine we are putting over about 30 tons of mercury into our water bodies. And the major river networks in Ghana, the Ankobra, the Ofeng, the Pra, the Brim, and its tributaries are all laden with pollutants. The water is so turbid, you cannot drink it. And you see people in the villages drinking very turbid water. Like you're having a cup of chocolate drink. And this is what they are drinking. We are polluting people. And mercury also has it's a neurotoxin. And it's bad for human health. And yet the problem goes on. Personally, when I started my career with the Environmental Protection Agency about 43 years ago, we've started tackling this issue. And I've been aware of this issue for over 40 years in this country, and we still haven't solved the problem. But we can if we want to.
Okay, we'll get to the bit about the solution. But if you say that, mercury lasts in water body for like 1,000 years, and we have this many tons of mercury, then it means we are a lost generation and a lost country then, aren't we?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this has been going on for many years now. So if you look at the bottom sediments of some river systems we have in this country, you can see organic forms of mercury, which fishes can ingest, bioaccumulate, and then people who eat the fishes are contaminated with mercury. And people who drink the water may also be contaminated with mercury. And people who use the river to farm, the mercury can go into the crops that they farm on these farms. The plants will take up mercury. And, it's entered into the food chain. And we are slowly poisoning ourselves. And is that bad? Is that bad?
Let's look at the slowly poisoning ourselves that you talk about. So, there are many people who say, what would after all, I can drink water, I can buy water and drink, so I do not care. So for those people, what is the impact of this illegal mining on them?
Yeah, you see, the thing is that ignorance of the impact does not mean that it will not affect you. If you want to, for those of us in Accra, we hardly drink rivers contaminated with mercury, because the rivers around, or even the pond, the water lake, we don't do a lot of mining around the water lake. But it does not mean that my family members in Kumasi, in Takoradi, and in Cape Coast are not affected. You see, the whole thing is that it enters into the system. We can have bush meat, akrantia from eastern region, and that grass cutter is feeding on contaminated mercury crops or mercury flora.
Okay.
And it's coming to Accra and it's on my table. So see, when we contaminate the environment, either through air pollution, water pollution, or soil pollution, it eventually catch up with us.
Okay.
So that is it. And let me touch also on the degradation,
sure.
The destruction of the soil.
Yes,
go ahead. When you mine and you take the auriferous gravels or material and you wash them, and then you extract the gold and you leave the rocks and the pebbles around. Remember, it takes over 200 years for the rocks to break down to form 1 centimeter of soil. And it takes over 3,000 years before the degraded land can support any form of meaningful agriculture. So the distractions today will pay the price for the next 3,000 years if we destroy the land. So in addition to destroying the water body, and we destroy our land, we destroy our farm produce, both cash crops and food crops. What are we doing to ourselves?
Let me bring
in
the
question you ask is that how much of these, even the earnings from small-scale mining, which is around Ghana, we produce about 30 to 35% of our gold we produce is from small-scale mining. How much is the government earning from this? So that's another issue to talk about.
Sure.
But the environmental damage is serious, and we cannot continue to do this.
Okay. Let me bring in Dr. Nyahu Tamaklo at this point. Dr. Nyahu, this is a country that the president put his presidency on the line in the fight against illegal mining. You don't see that as leadership enough?
No, you see, it appears we really don't know where we are going now. And what the environmental expert, excuse me, has just said is so frightening. Now, if the president has put his leadership, he has put his presidency on the line, and he has failed, I think the only thing to do is for him to resign. You see, I have said time and again that until we learn the culture of resignation, this country can never move forward. I have been saying it all the time. Just last week I said it. You see, a president has said something. All he has to do, he has failed totally. You take your pen and resign and leave the thing for another person to come. Or elections to be held, or whatever it is. But here we are, your ministers are involved. You ask your own minister to investigate. He came out with a report. The report was on your table for 2 solid years. Nothing came out of it. And before Boateng is not an ordinary person. He's a well-knowledgeable person. I know him well. You follow me? And nothing is happening. And the whole country now is at a standstill. Look at the sort of things we have been seeing on the television screen. If they are really true, and they are true, of course. Definitely, it is only an incompetent administration that can lead us to this stage. Nothing else. And if it had been in a civilized country, the leadership would have just given way. But look at what we are going through. Look at the sort of problems that are coming medical. We have increased rates of pregnancy loss at the moment. Birth defects are seen now commonly in that sector, that area. Short or missing arms or limbs or legs. Anything you can think about. Just frightening. And all these things are going on. And we have people in the party who are supposed to be very, very knowledgeable, and nobody say anything. They're there. So to me, the sort of greed and avarice in which we find ourselves now, that extreme, strong desire for money and possessions, I have never seen it in this party before. Never, ever than this time around. So, it's for Ghanaians to decide. I learned the health services have threatened to go on strike or whatever they wanted to do. It's a right. They have every right. Support them. They have every right to go on that strike. If that can bring change. Because we are being misled and nobody seems to be talking. It is not a matter of every Ghanaian involved. No, I disagree completely. It's the leadership. If the leadership is the right leader or the leader is the right person who knows exactly what it's about, we shall get to where we are now. Because we have instances where the leader himself has come to claim that the whole one of his chairmen, supposed to be involved in this sort of illegal mining, is not doing so in the forest reserve area. And that is a lie. It has been proven that is a lie.
Well, he says
and
that
the people of this country,
he says
what is most.
He says he's not currently mining in the forest. Yes, that's what he said. That mining was not in the forest as he was speaking mining. Yes, please go ahead.
So I think if the leadership is not doing anything, at least the nationals themselves should move. The people have to move. They are being killed.
Move in what form? Move in what ways?
Environmental expert was just saying it's so frightening. The people should move.
How do they move?
They are being killed gradually.
Dr. Tamaklo, how must the people move?
You see, how must the people move?
How do they move? You say they should move.
Recently, it's not even 3-4 months ago, when TUC, once again, leadership issue concerning state property, TUC raised their hand up. What happened? What happened? Even your group there, your journalists, for almost 1 week now, you have been hitting on this thing. The whole country is aware of it now. So when I said the people should move, there are a lot of ways that people can move. You understand me?
Okay. You want the TUC to declare a strike on this one also?
Of course, yes. Of course, yes. Government should be made to understand that they are there to serve the people. The people are not to serve them. Because the money they have been stealing away from this country are monies belonging to the people. You don't steal the money and destroy the very existence of the people as well. You can't do that. You can't do that. This can never happen in any civilized country.
There are those who say
what we have now definitely is not a question of trying to back your government or your party. It is it's a question of your country first. That is what we've reached now.
Dr. Tamaklo, there are those who say, and the MD of the Ghana Water Company Limited says, the fight against illegal mining be placed under the CDS. The military should take over that fight. Do you agree?
I agree entirely. If the military, now listen to me carefully. The military has leadership. And if they are given that task without the influence of politicians, I can assure you, they will finish this thing within 1 week. The military that I knew, I don't know what is there now, but the military will have a tradition. So I believe strongly the leadership will be the same. If you give them that role, they are told that this is the task, and stop it. I can assure you within 1 week the military can stop. But where you have leaders within the political parties and the groupings using a section of the military. As for the police, I don't want them to come in at all.
Why?
Leave this to the military.
Why
and
don't you want the police
you,
to come in?
The military that I know can definitely stop this thing within 2 weeks. I would say within 2 weeks. That's all.
When you say the military that you know, what do you mean?
No, the military has changed just like politics in this country. It has changed. Politics formally, the leadership of political party, at least the one that I saw, you have leaders with integrity. You don't have them now. You follow me? You have politicians who have feeling for the ordinary person. You don't have them now. The leadership we have in politics now are leaders who come just to steal. They steal, physical stealing. The same with the military. Military years back, when they are giving a tax, you can be sure they will do it. But the military itself has been so politicized now. So-called, what do you call it? What's the word? When we are recruiting people into the army, now it has become protocol list. It never existed when I was a soldier. Never ever.
Okay. But
the military gives directives, and recruitment is done in every region in the country. Every region. I have been part of it before, so I know what I'm talking about. Every region. My time, we went to all the 9 regions. We ended up at Bolga. But then Bolga was not even regional capital. You follow me? Now look at what is happening now. We so-called protocolists. That has totally destroyed the security services in this country. And we are all sitting down looking. So when I talk about the military, I believe so that that's why I say it has been a tradition. And it's the best service you can get in the world, in this country. And if they go strictly, if the leadership of the armed forces goes strictly by the tradition, I can assure you, give them this job, 2 weeks, they will stop it.
But why do you say the police shouldn't go close to it at all?
You see?
Why do you say as for the police, they shouldn't be involved?
I don't trust them.
Why?
Full stop. I say I don't trust them. Don't ask me why. I don't trust the police. I trust the soldiers more than the police. Not because I've been a soldier before. I don't trust the police. I see what they do daily on the road. I see it. At times I'm even compelled to stop and talk to them. I say I don't trust them. That's that.
Okay. This morning we're joined by Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, who's a statesman who served in the health sector as medical doctor in the Ghana Armed Forces and in the diplomatic space as Ghana's ambassador to Serbia. And most of you know him also because of his times with Accra Hearts of Oak and as chairman of the Ghana Football Association. Dr. George Manford is chairman, Environment and Sustainability, thematic group of the Frimpong Manso Institute. So we're wrapping up, and we're wrapping up with the solutions. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, you've talked about the military being involved. The military, as you know, knew it then. But beyond the military taking over this fight, what else must be done in dealing with illegal mining Galamsey?
I think the whole Galamsey project itself must be banned. Must be banned totally. And I believe if this responsibility is given to the military to make sure they clean the place, first and foremost, they will ban it. Because I can see them going on an operation that I will call Operation Save the Environment / Save Ghana. And when soldiers have been given a tax, they make sure that it's done. The first thing that should be done is to ban the so-called Galamsey entirely.
As in small-scale mining?
Ban it. You see?
As in banning small-scale mining?
Of course, yes. Look at the destruction you're bringing on it. What are we really gaining out of it? From what the environmental expert just said, look at the destruction. 1,000 years. That even you can't be sure. Why should we be so wicked to those who have not been born yet? To me, it should be banned. That's all. You ban it, and the only group of people who can ban it and stop it will be the military. Once again, if they have been given the free hand to operate, and I believe they will be given the free hand to operate. You can't ask the military to do something and you tie his hands at his back. No, it's not possible. So that is the first thing that I think must be done. And of course, the people must be educated. You can say a lot of people really don't know what is involved. So as poor as they are, they just drink what they have. And that is even very, very disturbing. Very disturbing. Already we have problems with drinking water all over the country, from the north to the south, from east to west. And now this has compounded the situation. So where do we go now? Where do you go now? Those who have got money can buy water or can even import water from abroad. What is the ordinary person going to do? I mean, we have to think about this thing very, very carefully. If we are not careful, it will lead this country into a complete destruction. So that's all that I'll say.
Okay, let me bring in Dr. George Manfo, who is chairman of the Environment and Sustainability Thematic Group of the Frimpong Manso Institute. Dr. Manfo, what must be done? What should we do?
Okay, thank you very much. In the first place, I do share the concerns expressed by Dr. Nyamu Tamaklo regarding the banning, but I would suggest I would suggest a moratorium on small-scale mining.
Okay.
So that we can put systems in place. Because if you ask the military to intervene, they can achieve a lot. But would you place them in the forest areas forever? We need some time where these mining activities can be curtailed or stopped for a while, and then we put the systems in place. You see, I think the key thing, and I think in the intervening period, we heard the statement by Otumfuo on addressing these issues within the Ashanti area. And Otumfuo is walking the talk. Quite recently, he dissolved 3 chiefs over Galamsey. How many public servants and civil servants have been dismissed? How many political operators have been dismissed? We need to address these issues in a more holistic manner. First of all, we all know that about between 500 to 1 million Ghanaians are directly or indirectly involved in small-scale mining. Well, not all small-scale mining are Galamsey, but Galamsey constitutes a big part of small-scale mining. But in the small-scale mining sector, up to 1 million people are directly and indirectly involved. So, and that is why I said a permanent ban would be difficult. And when you have illegalities, it is the most powerful people who benefit. Well, they are the people who have some leverage over the security agencies. So we would suggest a temporary ban, and then we fix the problem. For example, there are some areas in this country that should not be given for small-scale mining at all.
Which areas are those?
The degree of mineralization, the amount of gold you find per ton of ore is so low that you cannot even reclaim the land. Areas where you cannot reclaim the land sufficiently well for other uses should not be given to mining.
Okay.
Secondly, we have to stay away from the use of mercury, even when we come to address the issues on a long-term basis. We should never use mercury. There are other ways, concentrators and other ways of extracting the gold. So I would suggest that we request our political leadership to take the lead role. I know a number of chiefs, including the Otumfuo, are doing what they can within their jurisdictions to address these issues. We have to get the political leadership also to take their role, and then those in the public and the civil service who have responsibilities will also have to do their part. Collectively, we have to bring this under control. Otherwise, a time would come, we would have to import water to drink and even to bath. Or we have to desalinate seawater, which is very expensive. So why should we go ahead and allow this to happen? I think Ghanaians, we should all bury our head in shame. We have allowed this to go on for too long.
Now,
our water, soil, everything is getting, it's contaminated and it's bad.
Okay.
And we can do something about it. Other countries have done something about it, about small-scale mining. In Latin America and even in parts of Asia, They have fixed these issues. So we should do the same, and we can do it. Ghana has all the human resources to do this kind of job. And we look forward to Performance Institute. In fact, they started a study on how to address these issues. And we'll soon come out with some issues for discussion. We have to think outside the box and take bold decisions to try and address these issues.
So, if we decide to implement these measures that you're talking about, how long would it take us to restore our environment to
that's
levels that it was in before?
Typically, if you stop mining in a river, within 5 years, if you stop, the river can recover sufficiently well. The fishes will come back, the flora and fauna around the rivers will recover. So 5 years, I would say, for water bodies. Although the mercury will stay in for a very, very long time. Up to 1,000 years, the mercury will be there. So we have to get mercury out of mining. When we destroy the soil, then we're talking of 3,000 years or more. So the issue is serious. That's why we need to fix the problem now. And no political leader can say that we would allow under my watch the soil and the environmental resources of this nation to be destroyed beyond recovery for generations unborn to pay the price.
Okay.
So for rivers, yes, we can do something about it. For soil and for the other, terrestrial resources, it will take, forests will take over 50 years for the forest to recover. So we have a huge task on our hands, and we must work at it and solve it. And if we have the political and the traditional will and education and awareness, we can fix the problem. Because, for example, if you know the birth defects in these mining areas, if you know the impaired cognitive capabilities of children as a result of exposure to vaporized mercury, the results are there, the studies are there. I remember 35, 40 years ago, I did my PhD on Obuasi mines, and I know the issues there. The arsenic pollution there, the contamination over there, arsenic recovery plants were put in place after my PhD and some of the issues I discovered. But largely, we are tackling the large-scale mining. But the small scale, we haven't really gotten grips of that problem. And we need to work with it. We have some suggestions even to make regarding large-scale mining and how we can do it sustainably. So we look forward to engaging the Ghanaian population and the experts and all stakeholders to try and address these issues.
Thank you very much, Dr. George Manfo, who's Chairman, Environment and Sustainability Thematic Group of the Frimpong Manso Institute, and also to you, Dr. Nyaho Tamakulu. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.